Sharks are one of the top apex predators of our oceans and have an indispensable role in the function and health of our aquatic ecosystems. They occupy every ocean in the world. Approximately 25% of the world's shark population inhabits Australian coastlines, and almost 50% of shark species are endemic to our country. Unfortunately, shark populations are being impacted by a combination of natural and anthropogenic threats. One, which may not immediately come to mind, is the use of shark control measures along our coastlines. In Queensland, the Shark Control Program was introduced by the Department of Fisheries in 1962 to protect the increasing human population along the state's coastlines. The program aimed to minimise the threat of shark attacks on humans along popular metropolitan beaches. It worked on the idea that less sharks equals less attacks. It relies upon two methods: nets and baited drumlines. Nets typically measure 186 metres in length and stretch 6 metres below the surface, establishing a partial, yet not impenetrable barrier between sharks and people at popular swimming beaches. Drumlines are designed to attract target species and capture them on a baited hook. They are then either taken out to sea or they are euthanized. Today, 27 nets and 383 drumlines are in place across 86 beaches between Cairns and the Gold Coast. While these two methods are quite different in their approach to shark control, they share the same purpose: to capture and kill potentially threatening shark species.
Our current shark control program is extremely destructive to marine life, all sorts of marine life.
Recognise that they're a stopgap that was put in place for our peace of mind. They're really not a solution to what humans have viewed as a problem.
While the program succeeds in capturing threatening target species such as white sharks and tiger sharks, it also succeeds in capturing non-threatening shark species and other marine life as bycatch each year. This graph shows the average number of catches of non-target species in shark nets from 2012 to 2017. As you can see, a variety of animals get caught in the nets. We've analysed the data from the Queensland Government database of shark nets bycatch. There were a total of 616 bycatch in 5 years. Almost 3/4 of the animals killed in the Queensland Shark Control Program between 1962 and 2014 were either shark species never known to have a caused human fatality or a non-shark species, showing clearly that the program impacts a wide range of species. Approximately 80% of all shark species are harmless to humans. Yet, many of these species are caught in our shark nets each year. The famously harmless grey nurse shark is considered critically endangered in eastern Australian waters. Yet, between 2001 and 2017, 32 sharks died due to entanglement in netting equipment. The current eastern population is approximately 1,000 sharks, meaning that a small number of sharks killed can have a very serious impact. One of the strongest arguments for maintaining these shark control measures is the sense of security that beachgoers are provided with. Beaches deemed to be safe for swimming are more likely to receive a larger influx of tourists on both a national and international scale, a definite benefit from an economic perspective. But why do people feel the need to be protected? Studies have shown that risk perception and response are strongly associated with the degree at which the risk evokes the feeling of dread.
Shark nets are probably one of the best symbols of just how powerful our fear of sharks are in this society. Yeah, no smart decisions, especially towards protection against nature, have ever been made out of fear.
Talk to each other about sharks and the danger they pose to humans, which is so minimal. If we can get the conversation starting, people will start to realise that they aren't these scary beasts that they see in movies and on mainstream media.
This emotional response is overpowering our ability to make logical, informed decisions. Reacting out of fear, instead of reason, is making conservation for sharks very difficult. It is understandable to have a fear of sharks, but how can we balance conservation and public safety? There are countless alternatives to shark nets and drumlines, all of which provide a more environmentally and socially responsible approach to shark mitigation when used in cooperation with one another. Smart drumlines are an improvement on the conventional drumlines, and they dramatically reduce the mortality of bycatch and sharks. Aerial surveillance using drones is a cheap and easily acquired alternative that could be used as part of every lifeguard watch. Helicopter patrols are a more expensive option, but with the advantage of covering more ground. There are also many personal deterrents on the market to help minimise your chance of unwanted shark encounters. They interfere with the different senses of sharks such as sight, smell, hearing, and electromagnetic impulse detection. Making informed decisions when entering the ocean can greatly reduce your chances of an unwanted encounter. For example, don't swim between dawn and dusk when sharks are feeding. Avoid river mouths and murky water. If you see bait fish and diving birds, be careful and don't enter the water. Get the Shark Smart app, which shows a map of tagged potentially dangerous sharks in the area, and check it before you enter the water. These alternatives are all non-lethal and do not threaten our biodiversity. This range of options should be promoted and invested in by the Queensland Government as smarter solutions to beachgoer safety. Important variations have recently been made to the permit which allows lethal drumlines in the Great Barrier Reef. In early April this year, the tribunal found that killing sharks does not reduce the risk of unprovoked shark interactions. They found scientific evidence to be overwhelming in this regard. 19 species of sharks have been taken off the target list. This means for the 173 drumlines between Cairns and Gladstone, any sharks that are caught will be tagged and released offshore, whereas prior to April, they were shot dead, even though out of 19 target species, only 3 were considered a danger to humans. A shark will now only be killed when it is unlikely that it will survive. The government will also have to research non-lethal alternatives and trial electronic drumlines.
To release them, if caught alive though, at least save some lives, but it's also just not enough. And the worst thing about celebrating wins like releasing sharks that are caught and smart drumlines is the fact that yes, we're saving sharks, but we're still not saving people, which is a really important thing to do as well.
Directing government funds towards conducting further research on alternatives and promoting public education on the topic could prove a long-term investment for our sharks and marine ecosystem health.
Visitors, we're the ones that are going into their environment. You can learn to live in harmony.
Does it really protect swimmers? It doesn't. We want to protect these species. They're supposed to be in the ocean. Let's make sure that they're there for a long time to come.
Sharks are headed for extinction. If we don't act now, we could end up losing important species which would have a huge ripple effect on entire ecosystems, affecting not only fisheries, but tourism, air, water, and food sources. It is in our best interest to protect these species for both ourselves and future generations to come.